nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me tonight is Rafa and Royce. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Warming up from last night's little chilly game from Bernie.
Doing fine.
We're going to get to where is Rafa freezing at, because that's what high school soccer is about.
A
In a minute here, after the introductions here, but please mute your phones if you're the host. I apologize.
That's what I heard. That's why I made that face. I was like, we're doing sound effects now. Cool. All right.
Intro.
I'll get some drops together. We'll make this
I was
fun.
like, we're off to a good start.
Solid.
So, Royce, how's work been for you? Yeah, I know you're returned back to work since the last show.
Yeah. Dude, I got so many projects. I don't want to get on the details, but there's just a lot. Like, I have crap to review at home today when we get done with this. So, and I have a subdivision that's due on Friday, and I'm like halfway done with it. So tomorrow's going to be frantic is the word. Frantic. So, yep.
And Robert, we will get to the happy Jordan Farr Day for that here. And of course, Matt, let's go. And we're about ready to do that here with Rafa here very quickly. So let's start out with you, Rafa. Week 3. Where have you been? What's going on? How you feeling?
Been trying to stay warm, so anyone wants to endorse me for some of those heated vests, send me and Coach Hano one our way. So we've actually been seeing quite a few games this past week. I was on Friday night. I did catch a pretty good game between Alamo Heights girls versus Vito Johnson. That was saw a couple golazos on that game, and then Saturday we saw a doubleheader with O'Connor and Marshall. For the boys and the girls. That was a great week. And then yesterday we took a trip out to the boonies up in Bernie, and see champion play the defending 5A girls state champion Dripping Springs, the Lady Tigers, and it was probably our game of the week, and everything it showed, it was a great game, and which I'll get into the details in a bit, but like I said, it was a good game. A little chilly, but exciting. I think that was just to say, there's a little preview of what we're going to see hopefully sometime later in April, right before the state playoffs.
So do you think, is Dripping Springs kind of your team of the week there? I know you mentioned that was your game of the week, but were they the team of the week, or Harlan? I think Harlan boys had a pretty successful week as well.
Yeah, they had a good week too. But like I said, just as far as in the Region 4, I'm gonna, like I said, start with the 5A girls Region 4. Dripping Springs is going to be the team to beat. I honestly thought Bernie Champion was going to give, and they did give them a game, but first district game, little nerves and so forth, and because watching Bernie Champion play a few weeks ago against South Lake Curl, and they went toe-to-toe with them, and they actually dominated that game. And I was expecting, hey, this is going to be a close game. And it was for a while. Each team had really good chances. They both have great goalkeepers. I want to give props to them, to both teams for the goalkeepers. I think Dripping Springs' keeper has got Oklahoma State commit. But same thing with Bernie Champion, she made some great saves. kind of kept them in the game, and then finally Dripping Springs broke through. They got a turnover, really pressed there on their defense and just nailed one in, and then went in the half with a 1-0 lead, and then Dripping Springs kind of like smelled blood, and they just went at it the second. They dominated the second half, and they got the second goal on a beautiful shot from a free kick that I told Coach Cano that I kind of told her, here, I know where she's going to shoot it at, and sure enough, placed it on the left top corner, and probably if you watch the video on Facebook, you'll see the golazo there. So it was a great shot, and Dripping Springs ended up holding on and winning 2-0. So it was a great game. Looking forward to seeing that rematch in the second round of their district play. So I'm sure Bernie Champion is going to look at that game, see what adjustments to make, because they were in it, and I think they were just little. I don't know if they felt a little intimidated or just nerves, but it's going to be a great game for them, on the second time around when they go to Dripping Springs. So hopefully maybe they get a positive result over there. But I do know, like I said, Dripping Springs will be back, I think, on Friday. That's a matchup against Alamo Heights. So that should be a good one, too, as well.
Anything on the boys' side that you want to stand out before we get to your Rafa's Power 15?
Yeah, boys' side, like I said, we had one big game last week, which was Reagan and Lee, because one of the Clásicos, and they tied 1-1. I kind of expected that game to be very close. They're some of our top programs, like I said, Lee being our defending 6A state champ, even though they've had some little, had a couple losses, but like I said, it's against top-notch competition, so no really knock on them. They're not shying away to play for, who they're going to play against and so forth. Same thing with Reagan. Get to see, like I said, O'Connor's another good team. We did get to see them play, but they did lose yesterday to Harlan, and Harlan is for real. Like I said, I've seen them a couple times, and so they have a good opportunity to go deep in the playoffs. And then, like I said, Southwest as well. They started their district season. They had a big win, and I think they should have no problem winning that district. And then we'll see how deep in the playoffs they'll going in. I know they did have a loss with Veterans Memorial down in Brownsville. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they'll learn from something like that, because that's kind of been a little bit of the kryptonite was playing those Valley teams, and hopefully they'll learning from that will get them ready if they do see that team again down in later on in March.
And I know you do kind of a statewide with Coach Cano and the 50-50 podcast here. Any thoughts on how San Antonio area teams are comparing stateside at this point? I know it's still early in the season. It's
still early. 6A, we'll find out. Like say, outside of San Antonio, if you go up 35, you got teams like Austin. Well, actually, like Lake Travis, Vandergrift, they're going to be contenders. Westlake, but Westlake actually, I saw they lost last night at home to an upstart team, Del Valley. Del Valley might be that dark horse from the Austin area. I think they've only had one loss in the season, and they've gotten a couple good wins. So keep an eye on them. Ron Ruck-McNeil's another team, and then in Region 4. So I think Region 4 is going to be pretty stacked for the 6A boys. 5A boys, like I said, it's a little bit open. It could be. It could be Southwest. It could be a team from the Valley, like a Porter or Lopez. One of the teams that's kind of flying under the radar is actually the Dripping Spring boys team, and they pounding on the Bernie Champion boys last night at Dripping Spring. So keep an eye on them. I think they could be just as deadly as their girls team. And then kind of outside statewide, there's some good teams in the Dallas area. Like I said, you have your
Dallas and Houston's got a couple
Marquez, Capels. One team out west is Eastlake from El Paso. They actually beat the 5A boys state champs, and they did it. Beat them pretty good. So, and that was the one game I was kind of looking forward to last year. We thought it was going to be an Eastlake versus Lee final, but Eastlake got eliminated. So I think Eastlake's probably on a mission to get into that state tournament after that disappointing loss that they had last year. So a lot of great teams. And then I also for 4A, you got to give some love for 4A. The Bernie boys, I think they did well in that Progresso tournament. I think they won that tournament, so they're still the favorite to come out of this region to defend their title. And as far as the girls' side, I know Callan's still the team to beat, but I see the Bernie girls as one that could challenge them, and hopefully break through and get into the state tournament, Georgetown, come April.
And there is a question from Doc, who is taking a break from Mr. Moneybags, Newcastle United transfers and all the rumors through there. But he has a question: did he miss the Johnson Jaguars section? And of course, he followed up that they did beat Lake Travis for that here. So that satisfy Mr. Moneybags here. The Johnson Jaguars. Anything of note this week?
Well, like I said, with the rankings, will speak for themselves. Like I said, Johnson's also a sleeper team. I have seen them play. That was a good win for Lake Travis, but I did hear Lake Travis did kind of keep some of their players out in the second half. So, but hey, it wins a win, and that's a win on their belt, and I think, like I said, that's a good motivator for the team. So, like I said, when it comes to 6A boys, Austin and San Antonio, you got some very stacked teams that anyone can. You got about 5 or 6 of them that can end up going to the state tournament, and then possibly a couple teams from the Valley. You have like a Brownsville Rivera, Brownsville Hanna, possibly even Juarez Lincoln. That's another team that could sneak up there from the Valley to get into the state playoffs. So we have, like I said, very stacked when it comes to 6A boys.
So let's get into the fan mail for Rafa here. So with the Rafa's 2022 high school, we're going to start out with the girls' rankings for that here. Number 15, we have Southwest. Any thoughts on Southwest at this point?
There's just started district. They got a district win over Medina Valley. I think they're the favorites to win the 29-5A title. We'll see how far they'll make it down as far as getting to the playoffs to see. Hopefully they can do, make a deep run, a little bit better than last year.
Next team at 14, the Taft Lady Raiders here, locally over on my side of town here.
Taft's been good. They've been a real consistent team. Like I said, I was told they're one of the top 3 teams in District 29 6A. They're going to contend with O'Connor and also with Brennan. We'll see. We'll find out of the 3 who ends up with the district championship this year.
And you mentioned Saturday is a big match with Taft that you may find your way out there.
Yeah, I might make my track out there on for Saturday for the Lady Raiders versus the Lady Bears from Brennan. So that's going to be a good matchup. I think it's at 2 p.m. there at Gustafson Stadium.
13, the Lee Volunteers.
Lee, like I said, another contender for that district 28 6A. They were idle this week. They didn't play this week, so they'll play a district game. I think this coming this Friday.
At number 12, a rival in the district, the Madison Mavericks.
Yeah, Madison, like I said, they started well, but they did tie last night. They did have a tie last night with Reagan, so that's a good result for them. Like I said, playing one of the top notch, one of the favorites. Like this is in Region 4, so like I said, I see good things coming up for Madison to try to contend for that 28 6A title.
And Doc's team, number 11, the Lady Jaguars.
Another team. This just shows how for the girls 28 6A.
Same district.
Yeah, you see how deep that district is, and they tied as well too last night. Like I said, it's gonna be a shame that a couple of teams are not gonna be. There's only 4 spots in the playoffs, so it's gonna be a shame that a couple of them are gonna be left off. So I think Johnson probably can get that 3rd or 4th spot.
From Taps, John Paul II Guardians out of Shirts.
They're, like I said, one of the TAPS favorites for five. I think for 4A. They're 10-2 currently right now. They did have a win last night. Like I said, they're in the middle of their district season and should be wrapping it up. I'm thinking in a couple weeks. But they're going to be probably one of your favorites to win that 4A title for TAPS girls.
TAPS District 3 for you along those lines here. Number 9, the Bernie Greyhounds.
The Bernie Greyhounds, they didn't play last night, but they did play in that Governor's Cup, and they had some good results. I mean, I know they went 1-1-1, but they played some, really great competition. They did beat McCallum and Moore, which is a team in 5A that's been a perennial power in the past for the Valley. So like I said, I see them winning. Have no problem winning their district, and also hopefully seeking some revenge against Corpus Christi Callan in the playoffs.
Number 8 from also because they're a Northside school, but I believe they're on the Northeast.
Yeah, 28-6A. Yep.
28-6A Clark Cougars.
Yeah, this is one team that really, wasn't on the radar, coming in the preseason, and they're 9-2 right now. They had a big win last night, and what can you say? They could be, like I said, that sleeper team, and that is so they could sneak up and challenge Reagan, or even, like I said, Madison for that district and Johnson for that district title.
Bernie champion at 7. I know they played last night and were on the short end of the stick. Yeah,
still a top 10 caliber team. Like I said, I think they'll bounce back from the loss. So hopefully they'll learn from that loss. And, if the things go right for them, like I said, if they can take care of business with some of those North Austin area teams, if they can knock off like Liberty Hill or Georgetown or Eastview or Cedar Park, I could see them in a rematch in a regional final with Dripping Springs.
Number 6, Alamo Heights.
Yeah, the Alamo Heights that played last night, they were undefeated until New Braunfels Canyons knocked them off. There was an upset. They lost 1-0, and we did see, like I said, Alamo Heights play on Friday. A good team. Like I said, there were ones that was kind of try to challenge Dripping Springs and Bernie Champion, but that's not a good, kind of a hurtful loss, losing to New Braunfels Canyons. Hopefully, like I said, now they have to kind of rebound, get ready for Dripping Springs on Friday, and they sure don't want to go 1-2 into the district play and try to play catch up.
So top 5 at number 5, we got from TAPS, Antonian.
Antonian, like I said, for 6A girls, like I said, they were idle last week, this Tuesday, but they have a great record. They're at 12-3-2. Should be the favorite to win the TAPS district title and hopefully make another deep run into the playoffs.
They went pretty far last year as well, right? If memory serves me correct. Number 4, Reagan Rattlers. So the 5th from the 28 District 28.
Yeah, District 28, and like I said, Reagan, they actually tied last night with Madison, and like I said, they have a big target on their back, for the district title. I still think they're gonna be they're still my favorite to win the district title, and hopefully they can also bounce back from that loss that they had with Vandergrift and make a deeper run into the playoffs come March.
Number 3, we got the Brennan Bears, who will be facing Taft. You mentioned this weekend.
Yeah, Brennan got a big win last night. Like I said, they have a big game coming up on Saturday against Taft, one of the top 3 teams for 29-6A. Like I said, they're one of the 3 favorites to win that district title. So they've had a great season. They've beaten a couple great teams. So they're marching along, and like I said, don't sleep on them. They made a good run last year. They did lose to Vandergrift last year in the playoffs, but they give them a game. So keep an eye on them. I think they'll contend to get into the regional tournament.
And number 2, O'Connor.
Another great team. Like I said, O'Connor. Like I said, did get to see them play Saturday. Very, very great. Good team. Lots of talent. I think they're going to do a lot of great things in the playoffs. Like I said, But like I said, coming in contention with Brennan, with Taft, like I said, we'll find out of the three who can win the district title for 29-6A. But they did have a big key win, which is actually our number one team back in a few weeks ago.
And then number 1, Smithson Valley Rangers.
Yeah, Smithson Valley's 8-1. Like I said, they're have seen them play. I think they have a good shot, knocking off some of those Austin area teams. They did knock off. I think recently, they knocked off Westlake, I believe, in the non-district game. So, also they did beat Dripping Springs actually on a scrimmage. It was played like it felt like a real game, like a regional final. So, Smithson Valley, like I said, the Lady Rangers are my number one team, and like I said, they're my favorite to hopefully pull through and get into the regional tournament and possibly get into the state tournament this year.
And I know Dripping Springs is more Austinish, but final question on here. But if we included Dripping Springs, I'm assuming they'd be top 5 for sure, probably top 2. Where do you think that they would?
They'll probably be number 1.
Would they be?
They'll probably be number 1. Yeah, they have so much talent, that team. What's scary is like they graduated a few of their good players, but they just reloaded. The scary part also about that team, they get to watch their JV game. Their JV team is just as stacked as their varsity, and they can possibly even beat some varsity teams.
Do they have a strong academy program over there, or do they just feed off the Austin Lone Star area?
I think a lot of, from what I was told, a lot of their players played with Sting, with also Lone Stars Club. So they're playing a lot of the top tier, club soccer during the off season, also playing those showcases. So, and you can tell them by technically they touch the ball well, and they communicate well. They very rarely make mistakes, and in order to beat them, you have to take advantage of some of those mistakes. And so this is a very complete team, and like I said, I can see them going back to back, winning the district state championship this year.
So moving over to the boys' side here, we're going to start out with Lavernia.
So give them some love, Lavernia. Like I said, they've one of the newer programs. They're at 6-2-2, and they're about to, I think, start district play coming up, and I think they'll be one of the favorites for I think they're in district 28 4A. So they couldn't be, but like I said, they're going to be probably the favorites for that district title. Davenport,
number 14.
Davenport, another second year program. They're at 6-1-1. What can you say? They won some big games, and further, and win the division. I think they start district play next week. So you got to be one of the favorites to challenge the Bernie Greyhounds in that district.
13, Brackenridge.
Brackenridge, another surprise team. They've played well. Currently, they are at 7-1. In their district, they're in District 27. I think the 27-6. I believe 27-5A. So they're in contention for that title. I know it's a kind of a 2-team race in that district, with the Lanier Vokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're 27. Yeah. Antonian from Taps sneaks in at number 12.
Yeah, they're having a great season. They're 9-2-1, and they may be the favorite to knock off Central Catholic in that Taps district. I think they have a good shot. I know they're going to be playing them pretty soon. Like I said, Central Catholic's kind of been struggling, and I think this is the year that Antonia can not only win the title but also go deep in the playoffs.
And I'll play spoiler, but for the first time in a long time, maybe I know since we started this show, Central Catholic is not in the top of your polls here. So on that here, so. It's been a little bit of a down year for Central Catholic, even though they're a very competitive team at this point. At number 11, the Lanier Volks, as you were just talking about with Brackenridge.
Yeah, Lanier, they're 9-2. Heard some good things about them. Hopefully, I'm gonna check out a game versus Sam Houston on I think February I'm trying to get my dates right. The 2nd. They're gonna play at Alamo Stadium. I heard they have 2 dynamite forwards, and I'm gonna go check them out. Let's see. They said they've been doing a lot of damage, putting the balls in the net. So they're the favorites for like I said, for 27's 5A, and I think they should, like I said, should win that district title. But like I said, Brackenridge may give them a run for their money in that district.
Number 10, Bernie Greyhounds.
Yeah, Bernie Greyhounds. Like I said, they're the defending 4A boys state champs. They've played some tough competition. They did play in the Alamo Heights tournaments. They had a couple of setbacks, but like I said, you're playing the best is only going to make you better, and that's what the state champs do. And like I said, they did go down to the valley to the Progressive tournament and won that tournament. So then there's a couple contenders down there that I know Bernie is probably going to see, like Hidalgo and also Progreso, that we'll see in the playoffs. And like I said, they should win their district, and like I said, I do see them winning the region again this coming year.
Churchill Chargers sneaks in at number 9.
Yeah, Churchill. They're currently at 7-1. They've kind of snuck up on some people. I know they had a one setback they had with Southwest, but they're able to kind of patch things up together again, and they've got a little winning streak going. And like I said, no one was really kind of seeing them too much as far as contending for the district, but you can't fall asleep on them. And like I said, they could sneak up on Reagan or even Lee for that district title. I think Churchill will be there in the end to get that 3rd or 4th spot for the playoffs.
Number 8, Cornerstone Warriors, which I think is kind of a unique team. If you can kind of tell a little bit more about them. I know they've had a pretty successful season at 12-2-1, but if you can tell a little bit more about the Cornerstone story here.
Yeah, Cornerstone, well, they're an independent. Well, they're a private school, but they're playing an independent schedule. They did go to that Northeast Elite tournament. They did had some mixed results there, but they are 12-2-1. They've beaten some good teams. I don't know. They've beaten like Laredo United. They've beaten Del Rio. They've beaten a couple other ones and some other private schools. For them, they're not affiliated with TAPS or SPC or TCAL. Hopefully, in the near future, maybe they'll re-enter TAPS, and like I said, hopefully they'll see if they can get be a contender against like maybe Antonian or even Central Catholic, hopefully next year or a couple of years from now.
Number 7, Doc's team, Johnson Jaguars.
Yeah, Johnson doing well. Like I said, they did well at the Lakes tournament. Like I said, they're at 7-3. Like I said, they're going to be a contender for that 28 6A title.
28.
Yeah, 6A. So I did get to see them play a few weeks ago when they played against a really good Clemens team, and we were able and played short-handed too. They were down a man, and they still put a whooping on the Clemens on that game. So don't sleep on them. Like I said, they can surprise some teams, and I see them coming up. And they say it might be better than the 7. Well, we'll say it's still early in the season, so things will change, and that's why I waited for a while. But like I said, things are going to change for a bit with the next coming weeks,
especially with district play starting to come into play. Number 6, rival Lee Volunteers. So at speaking of strong district in 28, you got 6, 7, and 9 listed already out of that district.
Yeah, Lee had a couple setbacks on the Alamo Heights tournament. One controversial one against Arlington Heights, which goal should have never been allowed. But like I said, they're not shying away from anybody as far as who they're playing. And like I said, they did all right there at the Lakes tournament. I think they beat Clemens. I know they had a loss there on their last game, but like I said, don't count them out. Like I said, they recently beat Roosevelt 6-1. So, and I know they tied Reagan 1-1. So that just shows you that they still have that talent, and they're they're not going to back down from anybody. Like I said, they're still the state champs. The record might not reflecting on it, but like I said, can't sleep on them because, like I said, they'll rise to the occasion, and I think, like I said, they'll be there in the end as far as getting into contending for another run at the state title.
So top 5, at number 5, we have Alamo Heights.
So Alamo Heights, like I said, another game. Like I said, another team, another sleeper team. It's doing well. A big game coming up on Friday against Dripping Springs. That's gonna show me if Alamo Heights can be a contender for Region 4. I know last year they finished. I think in the top 2, 3 for their district, but they got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. So I know that had that bad taste in the mouth. I think they want to go further, and I think they do have the talent. I did see them play a few games. They do have the talent to go further, but Friday night's going to be a big test for them against Dripping Springs.
Number 4, Smithson Valley.
Smithson Valley, they're like I said, they're on a winning streak. I know they got when I was there too, they did get a little shellacking from Reagan, a bit, like I said, that 5-0 loss, but they've bounced back. Like I said, they're bounced back. They're winning games. They're it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and they're starting. Like I said, they're peaking at the right time, especially going to district play. Like I said, they're going to be my favorites for 27-6A, and like I said, they had. They were supposed to play, I think, Lake Travis, but I think that game got canceled because of the weather. So that was a game I was looking forward to seeing. But like I said, they have the talent to make some noise, and I think to challenge some of those Austin teams and go further in the playoffs.
Number 3, Reagan Rattlers from that strong district 28, 6A 28.
Yeah, what can you say about Reagan? Reagan's a great team. Like I said, they're at 5-2-1. They did have a loss over there, in the Lakes tournament, but they're going to be, like I said, they're going toe to toe with Lee. Like I said, we'll see the second time they play who's going to win.
Brian's not a fan.
Yeah. Not when that loss for the Salt Lake Carroll loss. So
I think Brian's a Churchill fan, so that would make sense along those lines here. So.
Yeah, but like I said, Reagan, I was watching the play. They're the one team that can go toe to toe with Lee, and like I said, they tied 1-1, and I'm looking for that second game. That second game they play in the second round of that district. Aiden Philon, he's one of the best players on that district. Keep an eye on him. Hopefully the college scouts are watching him too, because he's a phenomenal player.
SAFC. Number 2, my favorite team, Southwest Dragons. Although they did unfortunately have a loss that you mentioned down in the valley this year, so not the long undefeated streak that they normally have to start out the season, but nice to see them at number 2.
Yeah, they're currently right now at 6-1-1 with a 1 tie with our Loretto Alexander, which I was kind of surprised about that. I thought they would take care of them. And then the loss, they were supposed to play Brownsville Porter, but Porter pulled out. I think they had to do because of COVID. The team might have been struck with COVID. I'm not too sure. So they ended up playing Bar San Alamo Southwest, which they took care of business, but they ran into a Brownsville Veterans Memorial team that is one of the top teams there for 5A in the Valley, and they had a 2-1 loss with them. And hopefully, like I said, they'll learn from that game. They'll learn from that game and see, like I said, the kryptonite. The Valley teams have been their kryptonite, like Valley View and Porter and so forth. And hopefully that loss, they learn from that, take care of business, and get finally punch through and get to to the state, to the regional final and to the state tournament.
And before we get to number 1 here, Dave Plan mentioned District 28 is like the SEC. It's 6 deep with teams competing for top 4. I think that goes, from boys and girls looking at your preseason, or not your preseason rankings, but the Power 15. And I just thought I need to update the preseason on here. But for that here. But District 28 seems to be a beast.
Yeah.
And then the number one, the Harlan Hawks from the north side. From what I can tell, they've had a pretty good season. I know they got 2 losses, but how do you think that they compare? Obviously, they're number one, in the San Antonio area, but how do you think that they can compare against the Valley and teams from Austin?
I know they went up to the Lakes tournament. I know they were shorthanded a couple players, but to me, like I said, watching them play a couple times already, they have a great chemistry. The players really know each other. They feed off each other, and I know the one game we went to go watch them play against Brennan, they struggled a little bit, but they were able to pull it out, towards the end, and so they found a way to win, and sometimes that's how teams are going to be. You're going to have to find a way to dig deep and pull it off. And I see in the way where Harlan's at, as far as with District 29, 6A, they have a good path to get into that regional semifinal again, like they did last year, when they lost to Lake Travis. So they have a good shot of doing that again. And maybe, like I said, things fall their way and they can sneak in and get into that state tournament, knock off somebody in that regional final, whether it could be Lee or Reagan or one of those Austin teams to get into that final.
And then I'll give one here. Go Harlan. The boys have been together for a while here from Alex Pena. But Dave also asked thoughts on Coach Robert getting hired as head coach of Texas A&M San Antonio. And then following with that, will it hurt Southwest here? So I know you've been interested. You've talked to me a couple of times about the Texas A&M San Antonio program here. So, thoughts on the new coach and the impact on Southwest, if you have any.
Well, that's gonna, like I said, they're in a tough conference, and the reason why I know it because I work for the rival school for UHE, and like I said, the school that I work for, they've won the conference title the 3 out of the last 4 years, and I'm sure he'll do a good job recruiting, finding the right players, even though it's still a new program. Like I said, we took our lumps early on when I first started out. Knowing Coach Rigsby there at UHV, it took a while to get that program going, but I think he can find the talent here, and then maybe also look around the area. I think he can build a great program and do great things and try to challenge for that Red River Conference title.
And it's NAIA?
Yeah,
as far as the conference that Texas A&M SA is in at this point?
Yeah, that's the same conference with, like I said, with the UHU where I work with. Also has Our Lady of the Lake, so that's gonna be interesting to have an A&M Our Lady of the Lake little rivalry there. You also have teams like Wiley College, Houston Tillotson, I think Texas A&M, Texarkana, Jarvis Christian, and then you have 2 Louisiana LSU schools, Shreveport and Alexandria, rounding up the conference.
And then Duck has, I think, what we all say here, great stuff, Rafa. For here with the rankings and the information on the high schools. Any thoughts before we let Royce, start to discuss San Antonio FC and the new additions?
Like I said, look forward to going to some more games. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, hospitality to some of the fans reaching out, watching me live stream some of the games. And this weekend, hopefully, if you're watching Hondo, I'm going to see if I can head out there, give you some love. Like I said, we have 2 new programs going against each other, Hondo versus Poteet. So hopefully I have an opportunity to kind of live stream their games, kind of feature those programs. And then there'll be some other ones. We'll be heading out other places for SAISD games, hopefully Harlandale games. So we're going to spread the love. We're just not going to bandwagon with certain teams and stuff. We want to give the love to everybody and, just showcase how much talent we have around the city and in the area. And hopefully, like I said, some of these players end up playing in the college, whether it's NCAA or NAIA. Like I said, hopefully they have an opportunity to play at the next level.
And I do want to give kind of a shout out on that here to kind of transition more to the professional, even to the college ranks here. There was a post, and I know we've tagged it. I know 50-50 tagged it, and quite a few of other soccer shows here around the area and the state here. Number one, if you're an athlete, get your videos out, your highlights, put those on social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Twitch, whatever that you do, get your brand out, because technically that's what you are. You're a brand. Number two, referees, be kind to the referees, whether you're, academies, high school, along the lines, they are doing their best here for that here. And then number three, coaches, if you can submit your information into either MySA, Max Preps, tag us at the, 210 soccer scores, or, hashtag TXHSSOC. That way it helps us and helps everybody else make sure we have the accurate information, making sure that, the kids are getting recognized, with the right information that's out there. It takes all of us for that here. So those are my three little tidbits of if coaches, players, and fans can do to help improve the game, especially at the grassroots level of high school, small colleges, and the academy structure. It'll make things go a lot better for everybody. Royce, how are you, my friend? Thank you for waiting through there here. I know high school is, you enjoy it, but obviously with your work schedule and young family, not the easiest to get out to and see like Rafa does. And I know I struggle with it with my teenagers.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, and I'm also not really from the San Antonio area, so I don't have a lot of links to the San Antonio area, so that kind of makes it hard as well. But
he's gonna have to adopt a team like Curry.
I live fairly close to Harry. I mean, we're in that Stevens, Warren, Taft, Bermuda Triangle. So, yeah, maybe we'll see. I mean, my kid's 4, so I mean, we got 14 years, and who knows, we may not be in this district by the time he goes to high school. So, well, I guess 10 years, 14 high school. Anyway, math. I don't want to do math anymore. It's what I do for a living. So anyway, SAFC, we have some new announced signings. I believe we have 3 since our previous show.
3. The first one is Ates Diaf, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. But he is a versatile player for the Bold last year. Didn't need to do that here. He played right back for 1 game. He played 1, 2, 3 matches at right mid.
The Swiss Army knife.
5 matches at forward, or 6 matches. Yeah, 5 matches at forward, 6 matches at left mid, all starts. And then, of course, he filled in otherwise here. I know that, Alan Marcina, per the SAFC communications team, mentioned that he's convincing off the dribble, has the capacity to cover significant ground. And to me, which I'm assuming Marcina loves the most, he's committed to aggressive pressing actions. And he did that against San Antonio FC in the July 3rd match, as well as many other matches here.
Well, if you watched his highlight package that San Antonio FC put together, that's all it was him just pressing the crap out of a back line and getting clear cut chances off of it, which is exactly what Alan Marcina tries to do. Whenever SAFC is out of possession, they press like crazy. That's why PC is your captain, because he is the pressing person. He is the most aggressive person. No matter who he goes up against, PC is gonna out aggressive you. That's what he does. And to have a kid that will basically do the same thing from the midfield, where I think Diouf is going to play. Honestly, I think he's going to contend with Elliott for that Nathan position, that 10 position that's between the midfield of Abu and PC that'll tuck in, and he'll help connect with Loera and Gallegos and Patino.
I'm going to disagree with you, and
okay.
I'm going to go with Rafa's. Rafa, where did you think that he would be filling in when we were talking pre-show?
I'm starting to think now is he may be Epps' replacement.
Okay.
On the wing, and just because of his size and the speed, and if
6'2",
and his pressing,
and
I can see him pressing on a wing really
and
effectively.
and he's, like I said, he could be the one that we need on that side. But like I said, he's the Swiss Army knife, so
Yeah.
he's going to be a good utility player no matter where we put him at.
Yep.
But like I said, we haven't really, I guess, signed someone to take Epps' spot, and I think he's probably the closest one to
Okay.
it. So I can see him playing that spot. But like you mentioned, he can play also the Nathan spot as well.
Right. See, I think go with me here. The Epps spot. Where I think that is, I think the Epps spot is formerly the Pirano spot, which is somebody who's going to take the ball, who's going to dribble, who's going to be very, well, not necessarily direct, but they're going to dribble at you and they're going to break down a defense. That is what Epps did very successfully last year, in the fact that he led the league in successful dribbles, like that huge stat. That's why he got freaking paid by Phoenix, was just because of that. I think that's Loera's spot. I think Loera is take the Epps spot, which I'm calling the Pirano spot. I think that's Loera's. But we'll see. We'll see how. I mean, we have a preseason to sort this out. I remember, going into the last season, having a lot of speculation on who's going to be where, and it did not turn out to be anywhere near that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very, very possible thing that he ends up being, that on the Pirano spot for sure. And you'll have, you may not even have Collier as the 10 as the Nathan spot. You may have Loera there as a 10 at the Nathan spot. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Loera may actually take over for Gallegos because Gallegos may get transferred. So you have Diouf and you'll have Loera on the wings. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities. But at the same rate, that's an exciting signing. He's young. Just looking at his athleticism and how smart he was on a press. One of the hardest things to learn as a professional, speed. You can't learn speed, and he obviously has the speed, but it's the press. It's when to press, when to have those pressing actions. Look at that highlight reel. That's all he did, and he did it very successfully. So that's a very exciting signing.
So number one, it continues that Orlando City, because he did play with Orlando City.
Former Orlando City B. Yeah.
So
I think that just means. I think that just means there's a lot of soccer talent in the Georgia, Florida area, which, I think that's it. That only comes down to signing rights, or there's territorial rights in MLS. I mean, Josh Sargent.
Let's not forget who's still in Orlando City. And I'm not saying that they're connected, because obviously this, DF spent 2 years with the Bold. Darren Powell's in Orlando City.
Oh, no. No, he's not. Darren Powell is with Inter Miami.
That's right. He's in Inter Miami.
Yeah, he's in Florida, but he's with a different club.
He came from Orlando City. That's
correct. Yes, he did.
That's my bad.
Right.
But to me, the reason why I'm kind of excited about this guy, the Bold, not exactly the most offensive known team. And in his 38 matches, 28 starts here, he had 5 goals and 5 assists, with 36 key passes with the Bold.
Yeah.
So if you're getting, basically that's
from a dude who played right back a lot, from a dude who played from a dude who defended a lot and was a midfielder and was a forward, had really good numbers. Yeah.
But to me, coming from the Bold, having 5 goals, 5 assists, if he upgrades the team, like I think offensively, we should be better than the Bold. For that here.
Knock on wood. Good Lord. Yeah.
But to me, if he's able to have those numbers with the Bold and in the 2 seasons that they had, and for that here, giving him the keys to SAFC with his youth, with his speed. Mark Bay said he was one of the top 5 players from the Bold for the past 2 years. To me, I think if you're going to pick up a player from the Bold, outside of the goalkeeper, which unfortunately is property of Nashville, I'm very happy with what we got from them. So the next signing here, current captain, I guess you could say, one of the captains here,
Yep.
Connor Maloney for that here. Rafa, we'll start with you on Connor and kind of, what your views are of Connor returning to San Antonio FC.
Well, it's great to have him back. I know last year we had to wait a while with his injury.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was going to come back for a while. I think he was that little missing piece, the little spark that we needed on the outside, and he did his thing, and like I said, he helped get us into the playoffs. Just with his tenacious play. So I'm glad that we got him back. He's a great, like I mentioned, a great locker room guy. Leadership. What more do you want from a player? And he knows the system, and he's going to help the younger guys. Kind of get them in line and show them the SAFC way, and just keeping that core unit is going to help. I know a lot of the teams are buying players off the market, but that is not going to guarantee wins. They still have to build chemistry, and I think for us going in, we have enough returning players that we're going to have that we're not going to miss a beat. Going into the start of the season, we're just plugging in players that can just fit the system, and they're going to help us out at the end.
Royce, your thoughts on where you see Connor coming in for 2022?
Yeah, that was piggybacking on what Rafa was saying, that was a big thing that Jordan Farr said at the end of last season. Not to get ahead of myself, but was that him coming into the locker room was such a seamless transition, and it just felt like it was already a family. That culture had, that was beautiful. The culture had already been established, and that it was very easy to come in, came with welcome arms, and it was like coming into a family. A lot of that family's back, which is great, especially PC, especially Maloney. Those leaders, those generals, those captains on the field, that's what you want back. That's what most San Antonio season ticket members wanted, and they made that very vocal. And San Antonio FC listened, because they're bringing all these core guys back, and it's exciting to see. We'll see where he slots in. Obviously, he is an outside back, and the thing that's really exciting is the versatility this really affords Alan Marcina. Connor Maloney, this will be his third year with SAFC, can play right back or left back. Beautiful. Right or wing back. Shannon Gomez for Sac Republic and for Trinidad and Tobago can play right back and left back. So that's very versatile. We also know that PC is a left back that likes to tuck in to the midfield to help out when needed, or he'll stay out on the wing. Like, there's so much versatility in this lineup already, just from those three signings. Shannon Gomez, obviously the re-signing of Maloney and PC. That's, excuse my dog. She's obviously excited about the signings too. It's awesome. That's very exciting. I remember last season kind of not really knowing what was going to happen, who the left back was going to be, who the right back was going to be, and that's kind of where we talked about it. I wasn't sure if Epps was going to be that left back because he played for Seattle out on the left lot. If Maloney was going to be a left back, who they're going to have as a right back. We were discussing that. We're kind of like, where are they going to put these guys? Now it's not where they're going to put these guys. It's how creative can you get putting these guys in the best way to succeed, because they're so damn versatile. That's very exciting.
The only bad thing about this, and it's not a bad thing about Connor, is that with the three that we have here, that most likely signifies that Sam Gleedle's probably not returning for here, because I don't foresee him being fourth in line coming back here with the talent that he had.
Yeah, he's too damn good to be to be kind of fourth string. Yeah.
So that signifies one. He hasn't announced where he's going yet, but just with those three signings here, I think that signifies that. So the next signing, I'll be interesting to get your guys' feel on this here. Emergency loan to signed goalkeeper. I'm assuming goalkeeper number one for that here. San Antonio signs today. Jordan Farr, he came in on loan for the playoffs after, unfortunately, Matt Cardone got hurt in the final match of the regular season. Yeah. of the regular season, and Jordan Farr kept in. To me, the person that, as far as like immediate impact was from a couple of years ago, Lance Lang, and he was an emergency player, but he was that late season that just
Hold on.
kind of popped here.
Hold on. Are you forgetting the entire 2021 season? Who are the players that we got kind of last minute that made a huge impact on the team? Courtney Ford, Mitchell Taintor. Let's go with those. I mean, he was just as effective.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Courtney Ford did not resign. Mitch Taintor, to be honest, did not resign because he went back to Sacramento. Now he came back and has resigned.
Well, what happened was
It was a trade.
probably what happened.
Lance Lang came on a loan and signed.
Hold on. Probably what happened with Mitchell Taintor is he went back to Sacramento and said, "Stuff it, send me back to San Antonio. You guys try to break my leg." That's what happened for that conversation. But yeah, no, I see what you mean.
Ford,
no, Lance
Ford
came
didn't
in.
resign, but yes.
Yeah, Lance came in. He was hot as nothing at the end of
almost carried us to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jordan Farr almost carried us to the title.
Single-footedly with that left foot. Good Lord. What was that, the 2018 season, and then re-signed him for the 2019 season? I believe
that's when we brought in Billy Forbes, and then we all know what happened with that. So,
well, I mean, is what it is. It's the magic happened once. I mean, Billy Forbes 2014 season, good Lord, amazing with the Scorpions. Brought him back for 2017, made the playoffs, and he started that season hot as nothing.
Yes.
But he got hurt, and that's kind of what happens. And then the third reunion just didn't really go anybody's way. But
back to Jordan. But back to Jordan here.
More importantly,
goalkeeper number one, no question.
There's always a question because you never know who else they're going to bring in. They haven't announced anything else. Manny Neuer may go off his rocker and decide he wants to come to San Antonio FC. Does SSNE say no? No, they say yes. So you never know. But short of something like that, or short of Minnesota United
coming back,
exactly, Minnesota United being completely stupid and sending Dwayne St. Clair back, he's probably number one, especially because his jersey number, as stated in that press release, is number one. So he's probably the number one. Yeah.
So the side effect to that, Matt Cardoni, over 100 appearances with San Antonio FC.
The beard.
The original 2016 former Scorpion. Do we think that he comes back? Obviously, I think if you're bringing Jordan back, most likely Jordan's going to be your starter, or at least going into camp, he'll be the starter.
Didn't Cardoni go to Madison and also Trinity? So, I mean, he is a San Antonio original. So, continue.
Do you think the door's closed, or you still think the door's open?
No, Rafa, you go first.
I think the door. I think the door's probably closed. And then it has to do with more of the not just because he's not a great keeper and all that. I think it has more.
Yeah, it's nothing about him being a keeper.
I think it has
skills that he has.
This signing doesn't happen unless because of the injury, and I think the injury might be more severe than. That's probably could be career ending. It's only we're speculating right now, but to me, it sounds that way. That if you're gonna bring Jordan in, that's the only reason why. I don't think you bring in two number one keepers because, like I said, you still have another one where Mercado. I know he's still developing, but he's gonna be great. I mean, he's gonna be the future. Or if you are gonna bring a backup, like a third keeper, or to maybe put Mercado at 3 and put a more reliable, like a backup at 2, then you would sign someone not as maybe as the caliber as Jordan, because Jordan's definitely a number one keeper. So, do we bring Matt back? If it's the same situation like with Diego Restrepo a few years ago, if he's willing to do that, that's great. If not, like I said, it all depends on what we do as far as that injury. But to me, like I said, Jordan's probably going to be our number one from here on out.
See, I don't disagree with that. Jordan's going to be in the number one. I think he is. But I also don't think that they're beyond signing Matt Cardoni for a couple reasons. Number one, we haven't heard anything from him, so I'm guessing he's still injured, which means he needs to rehab, which I wouldn't doubt San Antonio FC would sign him. He's also – Matt Cardoni's a homegrown. He probably doesn't make quite as much money as somebody outside of the organization would make. So I think it would be a good bit of business for SSNE to re-sign Matt Cardoni, have him rehab, have him get back to playing shape, and maybe toward the end of the year, toward the middle of the season, he makes a couple starts to kind of spare Jordan a couple starts. At the same time, you also bring back Carlos Mercado, which we talked about last show, because we are going to be participating in the U.S. Open Cup this season, and there's also a weekend off where we're probably going to have a friendly in the middle of the summer in July. So you're going to want Carlos Mercado to play those games. You don't necessarily want Jordan to play all those dang games. So much like in that 2017 season when we had Diego, we had Matt, and we had Lee Johnston, probably going to do the same thing again and have three goalkeepers this season, which is betting odds. I would put money down that it's Jordan, it's the Beard, and it's Carlos.
See, I think the door is...
But the door is not shut to re-sign Cardoni. It's not. That's not.
But he's up in age as far as USL.
He's not even 30 yet.
Yeah, but as far as USL,
But here's the difference, and the reason why I say that is you mentioned he's not 30, but his ceiling's USL championship, right? I think we can all agree to that. Most likely he's not going over to Europe, or he's going to MLS. Most likely those days are gone.
Okay. Sure.
You disagree?
Sure. There are a lot of teams. There are a lot of European leagues that are below USL championship. And I'm not saying a first side division. I'm not saying a second league division.
No.
But there's
I will also say this, and
if you wanted to.
Our, Mr. Man Bun, our old friend from Oklahoma City, Cody Lawendry, and I'm sorry for
Lorendi. Cody Lorendi. Yep.
He posted, and it kind of caught me off guard, is with MLS Next Pro coming in, there is going to be a shortage of goalkeepers. Just
true.
Because you're adding 30, USL, the goalkeepers that would be loaned down from MLS may not be loaned down from MLS. It may go to, more teams in the MLS Next Pro team. So that's where I think that the door's not completely closed, but I also think that Matt's kind of at that stage in his life where, does he want to continue to play and maybe be a starter / backup, or does he want to take that next stage in his career and life, for that here? So that's why I hesitate on. You're right; it's not completely closed. And then the other factor is does Matt step away from San Antonio and test the waters outside of that? Depending on, because he's played locally all his careers, and it's a great story. But sometimes, hey, do you want to be tempted by going out? Because there's a lot of League One teams that are coming. There's I think he'll be a valuable addition to an MLS Next Pro team with all the coaching that he's got if he's looking to go that avenue. So he's going to have opportunities. Not only just at SAFC, but elsewhere that he could take advantage of if that's the direction he wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's also coaching if he wants to go into coaching. The sky's the limit for him, honestly. But I don't think his playing career's over, and I think he comes back to SAFC and maybe not the number one keeper position, but I mean, he can also be a really good mentor for Carlos, and Carlos even said so in an interview or two he did. So Cardone's a really good influence on him and really bringing him under his wing, which, yeah, that's perfect. Even Jordan could stand to get some advice from Cardone, especially since Cardone's been with Juan La Madrid for so long. And maybe Matt Cardone is Juan La Madrid's next what's the word I want?
Could be the academy goalkeeping coach.
Prodigy coach. There we go. Prodigy coach. Or the academy goalkeeping coach. I mean, Ryan Rochandle is still with an academy coach. So, yeah, I mean, there's that possibility too.
And I do want to give a congratulations to Diego Restrepo, becoming goalkeeper coach for DC United.
Absolutely.
So, former San Antonio FC, Florida Strikers along those lines, but with us, Austin
Fort Lauderdale Strikers. But yeah, no, USL goalkeeper of the year in 2017, Diego Restrepo. Yeah, for sure.
So congratulations to him.
Yeah, my biggest concern,
congrats, Diego.
With Matt is just the severity of that injury. Being a goalkeeper, is it going to limit to what he can do?
That's the big thing. We don't know what that injury is. We don't know the severity of that injury, and that's why the door is wide open. It's not closed yet because you don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
I wish
SAFC, if you want to tell us, we're more than our DMs are open.
Don't hold it.
If it's something with a hip, being a goalkeeping coach, it can limit you from doing a lot of things. And just seeing this signing, it's probably like that. It's probably maybe their biggest concerns that he may be limited to do certain things, especially like the diving for the balls and so forth, or if he gets hurt again, that could be the end of his career or something.
No, the hip is a core injury, and it's not good. I mean, it's similar to a knee where that's what did was it Stuart Holden's career? He was the best U.S. midfielder by far when he was playing for Bolton. He got tackled real rough, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Your knee's knackered." And he's like, "Okay, well, is that surgery? Do I need a rehab?" He's like, "No, it's done." To the point where Stuart Holden is, what is he? Maybe 40, and he just had a metal knee replacement. Like, yeah, you never know. I'm not saying that's what Cardone's going to be. Maybe Cardone's at home laughing at us, and he's been running 5 miles every day, just getting ready for the season. So, like I said, that's why the door is open. We don't know. You can't speculate on that.
I will say this. The injury that he got, it's one of those injuries that sneaks up on you, because I think when we all saw it, we're like, oh, hey, it's a concussion or something head related. Had no clue that it was actually his hip that took the bang and was actually injured.
Do we even know it was his hip? That's speculation. No, it was never announced what the injury was. We're just speculating. We are speculating. Like, doors open because we don't know.
The way he landed, just looking back, the way he landed.
Well, we do. Well, we know it's a lower body injury.
It could have been a foot.
They announced it.
It could have been a foot injury. It could be a knee. There's so many things it could have been. We don't know.
But moving on, before that here, SAFC announced its preseason schedule here. We knew about the 12th. Come back 8 days later, play Houston Dynamo 2.
Can you believe RGVFC hasn't even come out with a preseason so badly that we had to replace them with Houston Dynamo 2?
Yes, that was what Edson said. Edson said their season's been so bad that San Antonio FC went to Dynamo 2 for that here. Open to the public, the 26th against Tulsa. And if you've been to a Tulsa Tulsa Roughnecks match, they're not exactly the friendliest of friendlies for that here.
It's 1 month from today, by the way.
Yes.
1 month from today.
And then they play on the 5th in a closed door the week before the season starts against El Paso. From my understanding, the El Paso San Antonio matches, even though they've been closed door, has also been very spirited between each side here. It's only 4 matches, and I know, I have this dream of where, San Antonio FC travels out of the area for camp, but I also know with COVID, it's probably the smartest thing that they can do to kind of keep it local. And then it wouldn't shock me that they have other scrimmages, we'll say, between local universities or local, lower level teams that will be filtered in there. That's, not going to be known to the public, but that will be going out. But this is the public announced preseason schedule here. But like I said here, to me, it wouldn't shock me that there are some scrimmages and stuff against other teams that they can't disclose, especially if it's going against local colleges. Your thoughts, Royce, on the schedule, if you have any?
Man, my mute button is not working with me today. Playing FC Dallas, it'll be interesting. We'll see if our wingers get to go up against new FC Dallas signing Paul Areola. That'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Jesus Ferreira, probably see him again. It's very odd. Last year, I mean, think about it. Last year, was it last year that we played FC Dallas in preseason, or was it 2020?
We play them every year.
I mean, at Toyota Field is what I'm saying.
Yeah, last year was at Toyota Field. The year before was up at FC Dallas.
Was it?
Yes.
I need to look at that. I'm not sure. I think 2020 was, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, what's crazy is that lineup, the last time FC Dallas was at Toyota Field, the 3 players played for FC Dallas that are now not there anymore and very, very big on a different stage. Ricardo Pepi scored against us, if you recall. Crazy how he's exploded. He's in Germany now. Jesus Ferreira has started some games up top for the USMNT. He's still with FC Dallas. And then Reggie Cannon, the right back, is in Boa Vista in the Portuguese league. And he also played in that game. Crazy to think about that, how those players have gone where they've gone. So that's exciting. It's always exciting to play FC Dallas. That's fun. Houston Dynamo 2, man, it'll be like playing a college team, whatever. Even if we were playing Houston Dynamo, it'd be like playing a college team. Tulsa will be fun.
The Dynamo are splashing some cash with the new ownership through there. I think they're gonna. I know we're not an MLS podcast, but
let me make fun of the Dynamo, Harry. Let me make fun of them. Tulsa, that's always a fun match. What wasn't Tulsa the team that we could never beat, and they could never beat us, and every single game ended in a tie, no matter what?
No, Tulsa's the one where early on we dominated them.
Yeah.
And
except for that one game where we played them in a U.S. Open Cup match, and they beat us. Playing like a 40-year-old goalkeeper or a 50-year-old goalkeeper. Embarrassing. Let's get a revenge. And then Locomotive, man, that's our Texas rival.
Listen to Matt here.
So they don't until they show me they deserve it, they don't deserve it. And then, I mean, obviously playing El Paso, that's par for the course.
And El Paso, I think, is going to be a different team because their coach left.
Oh, yeah, their coach left. They
Lowry
had
left
kind of
for,
a mass exodus.
P500. Some players have left. They brought in
Indy
a new
11.
system for Indy 11. Pardon me. It's going to be a brand new system. Now they still got Luis Solinag, Seba Velasquez, Diego Lopez, who got called up to the U20 U.S. Men's National Team. They have some talent. So
yeah. No, they still definitely have talent, but it's definitely going to be a different team that plays in a different way. I'm sure the coach is going to try to keep things as similar as possible, especially with Lucho up front. it's not hard to leave him up front and just have everything else revolve around him. But yeah, no, we'll see how they play. Obviously, they're gonna. I'm pretty sure they had to sign different keepers. All their keepers.
Yeah,
One of them
Ketter's
went back.
gone. Yeah, I think
Ketter's gone, and then the dude that was with the Timbers that they signed on loan is gone.
They brought in Evan Newton, I believe, is who they.
That sounds familiar, but I'm not
just
sure.
Signed today.
Okay. Well, there you go. So, yeah, no, I mean that'll be exciting. And like you said, whatever random colleges they play, most likely Trinity because they have that relationship. So we'll see how that goes.
Your thoughts, Rafa?
Just great. I mean, we can say I wish we could see a couple more games. That especially that Dynamo game. I think it would have been nice to have the last 2 games open to the public, or even the Dynamo game if it's not going to be a big kind of like a big deal just to see maybe people talent.
See, I think the Dynamo 2. I think the reason that the first 2 aren't going to be open to the public, the FC Dallas and the Houston Dynamo 2 games, I think is going to be similar to last season, where it's going to be like 2 or 3 30-minute periods. I don't think it's going to be a 45. I think that Tulsa match is going to be the first 45. So
off the list is there's no Broccoli FC because we did play Broccoli FC last year.
You think Spurs Sports Entertainment wants anything to do with that trash organization? No, they don't. No,
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
No.
But we'll leave it at that.
No.
We got to move on here. I want to touch on CONCACAF because this is a important window for the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers here. So we'll start with you, Rafa. Since we are in San Antonio, and I know there is several Mexican national team fans in the area. Your thoughts on the lineups here for here? They got 4 goalkeepers, a whole bunch of defenders along those lines here, midfielders and forwards here. Anybody that shouldn't be there, should be there. Kind of your impressions of who Tata brought in, and if he doesn't get how many points, how many points does he have to get to keep his job?
Yeah, I think the one guy that should have just left off was the Chaka Rodriguez. He's just he just doesn't do well defensively. I think they can find someone younger and better, especially from the Olympic team they can pull up. Midfielders, the one player I'm happy they brought back is Diego Lainez. Diego Lainez does give a lot of problems with when he does play. He's very creative, and you saw how he played in the Olympics. He did a lot of great things for them to get them to that 3rd place spot to the bronze medal. So I'm glad. I think Betis is making a mistake not playing him. There was a rumor supposedly he was going to get loaned out to another, I think to Rayo Vallecano, but I think that deal kind of fell through, and I think they're going to start playing him more. So I'm glad that he's back on there. Forwards, those are your typical forwards. The one that is going to be missing tomorrow's game is going to be Raul Jimenez. He's still banged up from the Wolverhampton game. We're playing with Wolverhampton this past week. So more than likely you'll probably see either Henry Martin or Funes Mori. They're up top with Lozano and Corona. But, don't be surprised. Antuna's been playing well too. So he's one of the rising stars of that team. The one player I did wish kind of they brought back, just out of experience, because you need to put some goals in. It's Chicharito. I think with him, he does. He is always there at the right place, the right time. They just say, well, he's just a cherry picker and this and that. But sometimes you do need a cherry picker to put goals into the net. So I'm confident on this. Like I said, this is.
Before we get to that last question I asked you, because I also want to do Royce with the roster, and then we'll bring up the standings here. and then we'll kind of talk about what we see here. So I kind of jumped the gun on that last question. Royce, the U.S. men's national team World Cup qualifying roster. Stephen Turner Johnson, although Stephen I heard hasn't arrived as of yet for that here. Cannon Des, Lennon McKenzie, Richard Robinson, Yeldon, Zimmerman. Yeldon also, last I heard, hadn't arrived. Midfield, Adams, Acosta, Latorre, Leggett, McKinney, Musa, and Roldan. And then up top, Zardes, Weah, Pulisic, Pepe, Morris, Ferreira, Ariola, Aronson. I think some of the complaints that I've heard, a little bit too heavy MLS-ish. Your thoughts on the January qualifying roster here?
Zach Steffen is still in England with a back injury, so he's probably not going to make the trip in general. So Matt Turner's probably going to be your starter for all 3 matches. Also, rumor has it that Matt Turner may be he may be getting signed by Arsenal, so he may have to leave. He may have to go do a physical and everything. So that means Sean Johnson would probably take over at that point, which is why you have 4 goalkeepers, because you're expecting at least 1 not to be available, possibly 2. The interesting part, my gripe about it, is you have one natural left back, and that's Anthony Robinson. Serginho Dest can play left back, but he's kind of been exposed a couple times and hasn't looked very good. Obviously, he is your preferred starting right back because of his attacking abilities. So your starting lineup is definitely going to be Anthony Robinson on the left, Serginho Dest on the right. And as far as center backs go, another gripe is where's John Anthony Brooks? He's still the best center back that's available to the U.S. and the U.S. pool.
Even with his poor performances?
That is such
and I'm talking about
it's a garbage take.
Team.
It's a garbage take.
It's not a garbage take. He hasn't performed well.
He has. It's just he's performed well. He should be there. But instead, who you're probably going to have start, you're probably going to have Miles Robinson, and you're probably going to have probably Chris Richards as the other center back. And then as far as the midfield goes, it's going to be the MAM, however you want to call it, midfield, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and Yunus Musa, which is, I think, it is the best young midfield as far as international teams go. I think it's one of the easily top 5 midfield in the world. Don't come at me. And then forwards, you're probably going to have and that'll be interesting. We'll see. I think it's going to be Tim Weah on the right, Pulisic on the left, and Pepe as a 9. But it also, I mean, it gives you plenty of options. Brendan Aronson could also start. I know Timothy Weah is kind of coming off some injuries, so you may not want to start him the entire time. Brendan Aronson's a good fill-in. And then obviously Jesus Ferreira can come in as a 9 to spell Pepe, as well as Giassi Zardes, who has a lot of experience there.
Thoughts on the locations playing in Columbus and Minnesota? And
the reason,
as you can see, in Canada, but that's outside of our control.
There are 2 huge reasons that they're doing that, despite the weather. Number 1, they have to play in Canada in Hamilton. The forecast for the kickoff. Hold on. My son's over here. 2 reasons. Number 1, they have to play in Canada. They have to play in Hamilton, and kickoff temperature is forecasted to be -14. So you want the players to be used to that. So they're also travel is very easy from Minneapolis, Columbus, and Hamilton. They're all within about an hour flight from each other. So you don't want European players to have to fly too long, and you want your players to be acclimated to the cold conditions and they're going to play 3 games in. You might as well do it all in the same area. I know there are a lot of complaints, but that's why you do it. It's smart, and that's why you do it.
I'm not complaining. I understand the logic behind it.
Yeah,
but that is the big talking point for this window here is And for me personally, I'm interested in kind of switching to the FIFA calendar to see, and I know Canada was going to have 20, I think it was going to be 28,000. That was, was going to be for their match. And due to COVID, they cut it in half. I think it's only going to be 12 to 14,000, in
Something
Canada.
Like
But I know for Columbus and I know for Minnesota United, both of them have heated pitches along those lines, which is the big issue that I think a lot of people have on switching the calendar here stateside is the infrastructure really isn't in place. But in these two facilities, it is, pitch wise, it shouldn't affect the play out, as far as on the pitch itself. Now the cold weather and along those lines. But if most of the players are playing in Europe, they've been playing in cold weather anyway.
That's correct. That's correct. Most of the players that are in Europe are used to playing in the snow. That's nothing new, and most of the players do play there. So that's really nothing new.
So just to kind of recap where we're at, because this is a three-game window here. Canada right now is in first place. They have an interesting window, where they're at Honduras, at El Salvador, and home against the United States. The big thing for Canada, they are also missing probably CONCACAF's best player in Alphonso Davies, who unfortunately is still out. The United States plays at home against El Salvador, Honduras, and goes on the road to Canada, but they kind of catch a break, as we mentioned here. Rafa, we'll go with you. Mexico plays at Jamaica and then home against Costa Rica and Panama. I know they've got 14 points. They're sitting in third place, tied with Panama at 14 points. I know there's been rumblings of Tata's seat being warm. I think you could kind of say at least.
Yeah.
How many points do they have to get to make sure Tata's still there? And I think at this point, a lot of people are thinking that if you can get 7, 8, 9, 7 or 9 points, most likely you can book your ticket to the World Cup.
Yeah, there was an article that said something about that if I think the U.S., Canada, Mexico, if they get 9 points, basically it's a done deal for their ticket to the World Cup. Mexico kind of has it. I'm not saying easier, just because U.S. and Canada face each other, because they could, depending on the result there. But Mexico, if they can knock off, Jamaica, Panama, Costa Rica, and then, like I said, they've beaten Panama in Panama. So if they can knock them off, they knocked out Costa Rica. I know they tied Panama, but if they can get those 9 points or come out with 7 points, they'll be in good shape, because all they need to do, like I said, they still have games left over. I think they still have, another game with Jamaica. Another game with El Salvador that could probably seal the deal there. For that same thing, kind of with, like I said, with the other two teams. I think the U.S. probably I think they're hoping to get 7 points. I think with their 7 points, that pretty much will punch their ticket. Canada's kind of the same way. Really just winning. They're getting 7 points. So it's like I said, what they mentioned about the 14. Like I said, Panama has a lot to lose out of this, because they have to beat Costa Rica and they have to beat Mexico in order to at least get the last qualifying, the guaranteed spot. If they lose to Costa Rica and lose to Mexico, now they're in trouble. Even getting to that fourth spot for the playoff with one of the Oceania teams. So I think, like I said, the top three are in good shape. As long as they can get 7 points and above, they'll be fine. I think Mexico, like I said, Tata just needs to take it one game at a time. I think if we can get a time Jamaica, great, and then just win the 2 home games, we'll be fine. We'll clinch it. We'll clinch the game against El Salvador, and we'll go to the World Cup again.
I'm going to push back on you on that.
Mm-hmm.
If Mexico ties in Jamaica, I think just from what, and like I said, I'm not a Mexican national team supporter or anything, but just enough following them around here in San Antonio and Austin from the supporters that I follow, the pressure on Tata would intensify if he ties in Jamaica, in my opinion, because that's going to be continuing the trend of this World Cup cycle for that here.
But you remember the game's over there in Jamaica.
Right. And I understand that.
If it's a loss, yeah, then.
But I think even a tie, because let's be honest, Mexico thinks they're the kings of CONCACAF.
No, we're not. I guess for me, we're not the kings right now. Later on, 2 years from now, that'll be different. But now, right now, we're just at a transition cycle, and I think what they need to do right now is just go one game at a time. If you can get points in Jamaica and just win your 2 home games, you'll be in good shape. And I think Tata realizes that as long as if he does positive results, like I said, if you get 7 points or more, you're in good shape. If you get less than that, then the hot seat's going to get even harder.
But I do think the pressure if he ties Jamaica, the pressure going into Costa Rica is going to be high. Is going to be very high, and to me, it'll be interesting to see if Mexico can perform, to that pressure. Now, I think they should. To me, I think this window closes out as far as World Cup qualifying. I think the United States gets 7 points. Canada, I think, gets probably 4 to 5 points. Along those lines here, 4 to 7 points for that, depending on if they get 2 or 5 to 7 points if they get 2 ties and a win, because I don't think they're beating the United States personally. But to me, the Panama Costa Rica match, if Panama can win that, and if they can get a point, against Jamaica before their final match against Mexico, on February 2nd, I think you're going to have a clear top 4 now. Who finishes third? Who finishes fourth to get the guaranteed spot? I think that'll still be worked out. But I think you'll know your 4 qualifiers possibly at the end of this window here. Royce, your thoughts on the United States? I know you've been dealing with a little bit of kid duty here.
Yeah, my kid and my dog barely knocked over my freaking back. Amazing. That's life of a dad. It is what it is. Best job I've ever had for exactly those reasons. It humbles you real fast. What were we talking about? No, I'm joking. No, the U.S. tied Jamaica as well at Jamaica. I would not be surprised if Mexico also ties Jamaica at Jamaica. They're tough to play in Jamaica. That field sucks, so that's an advantage. And they have Mikel Antonio, and Mexico does not have the best center backs in the world. He can boss and have his way against all of the Mexican center backs. That was their Achilles heel this entire summer, especially against the U.S. So I wouldn't doubt if Mikel Antonio scores a hat trick against Mexico and actually wins. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that would not surprise me. As far as the U.S. going into this window, 7 points. 5 points minimum, 7 points is what you should get. 9 points would not surprise me, especially Canada being down Alphonso Davies. That's rough. Like you said, he is without
He's a difference maker. Yeah.
He is without question the best player in CONCACAF, bar none, possibly ever. So yeah, I don't
know if I go that far, but yeah,
I will. I will. You don't have to, because I will. But yeah, man. As long as Canada and the US and Mexico get their 5 points, I think they separate themselves very well with Panama, because I don't see Panama doing very well. And Costa Rica even has they're already 5 points behind. So I think if Mexico, US, and Canada get those 5 points at least, I think they're sitting pretty, and I think that's your top 3 going to the World Cup in December.
Final thoughts. There is one other thing that I forgot to announce. USL, or 2 things. One, the Open Cup has finally been set at 103 teams.
Has it finally? Because they kept delaying it.
They came out yesterday at about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, announcing 103 teams. The NISA drama is that there's 3 teams that are out: Chicago House, New Jersey Amsterdam, and Stumptown, which we kind of figured Stumptown was because they were being sold. The NISA drama is New Amsterdam and Chicago House, which are owned by a husband-wife combo for that here. So that's kind of skirting the PLS requirements, because you're only supposed to be able to own one professional sports team per the PLS requirements. But technically a husband and a wife does. But there's NISA drama, NISA drama as far as who's in, who's out. But there's 10 NISA teams, although they're saying, hey, we're still thinking about it, although schedule has to be out next by the 31st per league requirement or per U.S. soccer requirements. So drama always in U.S. soccer.
No way.
Positive. USL Championship on Twitter announced that a new club is to be announced tomorrow. A new championship club, which I think is kind of surprising. Des Moines is it's the rumor, but Pro Iowa, I think is the Twitter account said that there's an announcement tomorrow. The picture that USL Championship posted, for the announcement is a picture of downtown Des Moines. So I think you can put two together.
Yeah, do the math. Yeah,
for that year. So that's exciting news. The Athenians announced their first player. Once they announce a few more players here, we'll kind of go into that.
Yep.
If you haven't checked out UWS Weekly, the new technical director on there had about a 25-minute interview with John from USL Weekly, kind of give an update on the Athenians. So they did, it was a wonderful discussion on what the Athenians and Soccer Central's doing out there for that here. Final thoughts, guys. I know it's a long one. I know Rafa, you had the long spell up top. Royce, you had the long spell at the end with the SAFC. I know Royce has got kid duty and dog duty coming up here, so we'll start with you and your final thoughts. So that way you can get out.
I don't have any more thoughts. I'm done.
Rafa, anything for you?
Just final thoughts. If you haven't taken your shot, get your shot. Let's get this over with. I want to go to some big concerts coming up. I have Judas Priest coming up. I have Motley Crue coming up, and I have Iron Maiden coming up. So let's get it together, guys.
I got Rammstein in September. Hopefully that doesn't get freaking.
And also the 40th anniversary for Wasp in November, so I'm going to that one too. So.
There you go. Wasp. Oh my God, you're so hair metal. Oh God, so 80s.
But this is the final thought. Besides that, and also like I said, good luck to all the teams this weekend. And like I said, hopefully I'll make my way out to Hondo on Friday to go check out Hondo versus Petit, and possibly maybe a game on Saturday. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess real quick. Sorry to jump on. I just thought about it. Crocketeers AGM is on Saturday at 1 at Alamo Draft. Not Alamo Draft House. What is it? Alamo Beer Garden. Alamo Beer Garden. That's the one I'm looking for. I am tired. So if you want to go get some, I know they're going to have some SSNE officials there, and they're going to give away some.
Actually, a pretty big one. Bobby Perez, which is the chief legal officer and general counsel of Spurs Sports and Entertainment.
There you
go. For that here, I actually had this queued up here. For that here, door prizes can be 4 Spurs, floor seats, merchandise, and Crocketeers tailgate gift packs. Obviously, announcements. If you want to be able to vote for the board elections, make sure you've updated your, if you go to crocketeers.com, make sure you've updated your 2022 membership to save time. But it's at 1 p.m. I know Rafa has mentioned he's most likely going to the big Taft Brennan game, most likely. I know I'm going to be going to that just, for that here. If you're, I'm not sure if Mission City's still around or 210 Alliance. If you guys are having any annual meetings, please let us know.
Yeah, reach out.
I know 210 Alliance and the Crocketeers both attended the ICS supporters meeting out in Portland. So we'll probably, I know James Hope and Jenica will be giving, kind of a discussion on those as far as for the supporters culture on the macro level of U.S. soccer that covers MLS, USL, NISA, NWSL for that here. So if you're able to attend, please do 1 o'clock Saturday, January 29th, Alamo Beer Company, and the address is there. My final thought is also on the 31st, voter registration. No, I don't care who you vote for.
Solid.
Go to votetexas.gov. Check the am I registered? Just make sure you're registered to vote, because if not, you got to be registered by the 31st, and pay attention to how you register, because registrations are being rejected and along those lines, or not registrations being elected, but
ballots are being rejected.
Provisional ballots are being rejected
That's
depending on
right.
how you register. So just, I don't care who you vote for. Just, if you want to partake, in being able to vote, just make sure you're registered.
Go vote. Yeah.
Yes. So just make sure you do that here. It's an important, like I said here, it's a great thing that we do as a country, for that here, even though people don't believe in results, but we'll move on beyond that.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Go vote.
Can't leave that here, but
go vote.
I shouldn't have done that.
Voting rights are important.
Get the rock, get your vote on.
That's what sets America apart from everybody else. Go vote. Democracy. Let's do it.
But what's life without goals? Thank you, Royce. Thank you, Rafa. We're out of here.
See ya.